All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Healy Frequency Overview tonight, Monday night. And today is the 18th of July. So we're going to have a great time tonight discussing what this cool little Healy device is all about, what it can do for you and your family. But as we get started here, we have Billy Orris with us tonight, who is a mompreneur. So she's going to tell you a little bit more about that. We have David Pritchard with us, as always, and myself. I'll be emceeing and monitoring the chat. So if you have questions this evening, though you can't just come right out and talk and say that, put those questions in the chat. We will be looking for people that perhaps can offer a testimony this evening, and we'll be looking for some of those and making a special request. So be watching your chat for that in case you're asked to share for somebody that is already a member that we're aware of. So again, welcome tonight. My name is Ray Jaton. I consider myself a recovering heating and air conditioning contractor. Been doing that for 37 years, and I'm trying not to do it anymore. And Healy is allowing me to do that. And it's done a great deal to help me. Sorry, I see another familiar face on there with us that I wasn't expecting, but got me all turned around here now. So just to finish telling my story here, been in the heating and air business all my life mostly. So 37 years as a contractor or in that field particularly. We found out about the Healy, it's been almost 2 years ago now. And we found out about it because of my son. And he was in a situation where he had a major growth spurt. He was turning 15 at the time. He's 17 now, and he's very much taller than I am. So at 15, he had this major growth spurt, and he grew 6 inches in about 8 months, so fast that he's got stretch marks on his back. And the poor kid couldn't walk, let alone run. He was trying to play soccer, and man, my heart just went out for him. We spent a bunch of money trying to get him fixed, and nothing was working. And tried the chiropractic, tried massage, tried pills, you name it, nothing was working. And we headed out for vacation, and we caught up with some of our best friends, and they said, hey, we just bought this cool little device out of Germany, which from Germany means what? Quality, right? And they said it's cleared by the FDA for chronic and acute pain, arthritis, and muscle soreness. Let's hook him up and see what it'll do. I was like, hallelujah to that. I'll try anything by this time. And so they hooked him up and ran a 20-minute pain program on him. And 2 hours later, he was walking normally. And so my wife, Nikki, says, I got to have one of those. So we had one ordered before we ever got back to Missouri. And they said it was a scanner as well. And so I started fiddling with this, trying to figure out what all can it do, because I'm a mess myself, having diabetes since I was 16 years old, and saw a lot of neat things happen regarding blood sugars and so forth as we investigated this for myself. And it was fixing a lot of things in other people that we loved and cared about. So my wife comes home one day and she says, something's going on. I can't even tell you what it was at this point, but I fix problems. So I said, why don't you do a scan and run a program? And she looks at me like I was crazy. She said, how do you expect me to do that? You're the darn Healy hog. So needless to say, we had to get her another device just for her because I didn't want to give mine up, right? So we've had a really good time with this. as I investigated it, I was not looking for an opportunity to earn income with it. I was not looking for a business opportunity. I just wanted to feel better. But when something good like this comes out or gets into my hands, I have a hard time not sharing something good with other people, as you are probably that same way. So we started investigating a little bit more. It turned into an opportunity for us. One of the things that we saw with this company was that this wasn't just some little trinket and it wasn't some little startup company. This is backed by a major corporation called Waiver, and they build devices that are $20,000 and $40,000 in cost, plus the training and so forth that it takes to operate one of those. That's another $15,000 to $20,000 with the flight to Germany and all the education needed to decipher those bigger practitioner units that Time Waiver makes. One of the practitioners came to the owner of the company, whose name is Marcus Schmika. He's a quantum physicist and a former monk, or I guess he's still a monk. Do you ever stop being a monk? I don't know. Um, but anyway, came to Marcus Schmika, the owner of the company, and said, "We've got issues here. We need to get this in the hands of more people. It's taking too long for us to sit down and do programs on people, because it would take several hours to do a complete analysis and run programs on individuals, and that could be quite expensive. And it took a lot of training just for the practitioners' staff for the operation of the time waiver devices, but they're precision devices. So they came up with the Healy as an extension to the care of those practitioners. And they started marketing it through those doctors and those practitioners in 2017. By 2019, they spent several $100 million worth of money in the development of this and making it better. And they realized that the practitioners weren't the greatest at selling. So that's when they flipped this more into the social selling arena, the direct sales or network marketing type arena, so that we could share that with the people that we loved and cared about, and with the other practitioners ourselves. So it's really been amazing for us, and we met some really awesome people and seen some results in all areas of life. So that's enough about me, though. I want to introduce you to an awesome lady that's become a really good friend of our family, and her family and our family are close. So we love this lady a lot, and she's got a lot to share. So she's going to tell her story as well, and what this product has meant to her and her family. Billy, would you go ahead and take it away, introduce yourself, and tell us your story?
Thanks, Ray. Hi, yeah. Well, I'm Billy, and I grew up here in Missouri, and um, I was asked to share that I served the Marine Corps for 6 years. After I graduated high school, I went into the Marine Corps, where I met my wonderful husband of 27 years. Yeah, it'll be 27 years this September, and loved it. I was actually going to reenlist. I was a diesel mechanic, although I probably would have and reenlisted as changed jobs, but that's what I did. I was a diesel mechanic on Humvees and big trucks. So yeah, it was fun, but I was ready to change jobs. But God had other plans. We ended up finding that we were expecting, and I knew I had to get out and be a stay-at-home mom. We didn't want to be double activity. So I got out, but I was always entrepreneurial. I was always had some kind of side job going on to help with the cash scenario. Went from two active duty NCOs, which we made pretty decent money. We had a home, to one active duty and a baby and a house. So needless to say, I was always looking for a way to earn some extra cash. And fast forward, we have 5 kids. And I've kind of tried different things along the way, including different network marketing companies. And I met Ray in one of those, and we just kind of started being buddies and working together, and it was a lot of fun. But in the meantime, I was pregnant with my third child, and we had a pretty serious accident where we flipped and I hit my head on the windshield and caused neck damage. So I was living with a lot of pain for, I don't know, it was about 10 years or so. And Ray calls me, well, first I should say I tried treating it with natural products, and because I don't really like to do any other medicine. So that was okay, but I was still in a lot of pain. But Ray called me up one day and told me what it did for his son. And I was like immediately excited. I wanted to get in, but I just wanted to make sure it was where I needed to be. And I feel like God led me to that through an answered prayer, which was awesome. But so I ended up getting one and using it on my pain every day in the beginning. And then it just gradually became more, less frequent that I had to run pain programs. Now it's just like a once in a while that I have to run. So it's been amazing for me in that aspect. And of course, my family, I've used it on all my children, of course, my husband, my grandbaby. I use it on all of them. And you may be wondering, what is this frequency medicine? I mean, I didn't know anything about it until I met Ray. And years ago, he had met with a lady who had a Rife machine. And so I did a lot of research in that. If you know about a Rife machine, it was created back in the early 1900s by Dr. Rife. And he was doing amazing things with this Rife, like curing cancer and all kinds of other things, until they were kind of shut down by the AMA, which was really sad. But so what is frequency? All of our whole body runs on energy, from your thoughts to, all your organs. They all have their own specific frequency that they operate at. And when those frequencies get too low or out of balance, they don't function properly. Your cells don't. So like the inside of the cell needs to be more negative charge, but from our food and our environment and medicines, that can bring that charge to positive. So this amazing device using your smartphone can scan your bioenergetic field to see where you're out of balance. And then it can send the proper frequencies to you as well to recharge, I like to say, your cells. Like I think of recharging a battery. And so the cellular wall can do what it's designed to do. So that blew me away. And I've been using it, learning more and more every day about frequency, how amazing it is. So it's been really awesome. I've enjoyed every minute of it, seeing people helped in amazing ways, and meeting amazing people like David and all the other wonderful people I've met along the way. So that's a little bit of my story. I kind of do my business in between mom duties. So it's like when I can fit it in, like I'm setting my computer on my laundry basket right now. So trying to get in the quiet spot. But anyway, so that's a little my story, and we'll give it back to Ray.
All right, excellent job, Billy. Thank you for sharing your story. So everybody, I am not able to see a lot of the comments yet in the comments section, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce David, and he's going to tell his story and share a little bit about the opportunity and how the app or apps work, from both the Blue Dot app and scanning ability and running a program. So David, take it away, my friend.
You bet. Yeah, let me just point out a couple things about frequencies. Billy explained a little bit about what frequency is in the body. Every cell in our body has a specific frequency that it's designed to run out. The cellular wall is a little power plant. So if you can add resonant frequency in energy at a specific frequency, you can have a physical result in the cell. But then even thoughts and emotions, those are all frequency as well. In fact, Nikola Tesla had said way back, I don't know how long ago, 100 years ago or so, that if you want to understand the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Albert Einstein even said the future of medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. So this is something people have known that was able to work or was coming down the road, but it became kind of hidden for a long time. Maybe 20 years ago or so, it kind of started picking up steam again, especially over in Europe. And that's where Time Waiver came around about 15 years ago. And the Time Waiver machine, this big $20,000 to $40,000 device, is able to scan your bioenergetic field with a quantum sensor, find out which frequencies are out of balance, and then recommend the programs you would need to run to balance everything back the way it should be, at the cellular level and even within thoughts and emotions. So they take that technology now and shrunk it down to this little Healy. So it also has this quantum sensor in it, so it can read your field. It can adjust the frequencies based on what you're going through at that time in real time. And that's what's groundbreaking about this. If you're comparing this to a Rife machine, this is 100 times more advanced than just a Rife machine, because instead of just sending you one frequency that you think you need because you looked it up in a book, it will first of all tell you which frequencies you need as far as what kind of program you need. And then even as you're running the program, it adjusts that individually for you. So very, very, very high tech, very advanced, very much kind of like Star Trek, The Next Generation in their medical bays, the way I think of it a lot of times. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the Healy and how it works. This is the Healy. It's just only about 2 inches by 2 inches. It's wearable. You can just clip it on your shirt or put it in your pocket. There's 3 different ways that we do frequency medicine with Healy. And one is by microcurrent, which means we plug these 2 wires in. The other end of the wires either go to these electrodes that are a bracelet, like you see me wearing here, or you can also use kind of like what you'd see with a TENS unit. These are adhesive electrodes that you can peel off, stick on a specific spot on your body. And like, for instance, if you had shoulder pain, you could put it on either side of your shoulder and then clip these little wires right to those pads and run frequencies through there. Because the Healy itself actually is FDA cleared for pain, for different types of pain. Over in Europe, their medical clearances include things like fibromyalgia and anxiety and depression. So their medical system in Europe actually recognizes even more that frequencies can do, including the Healy. Now the Healy does a lot more than those few things, but that's what's actually medically recognized in the United States and Europe. So the other way that we can do frequencies is really cool. I'm going to demonstrate in this a minute, where you run it's actually running a very low current of electricity through your body, just through the battery that's in the Healy, rechargeable battery, at specific frequencies. I'll show you that in a second. Another way we can do frequencies is take the wires out. And this is actually a Tesla coil. In fact, there's 2 Tesla coils in here. You can see the coil. And there's one on top, one down below here, and it creates something called a 0-point field. If you want to look up some quantum physics textbooks and look up what a 0-point field is, you can. But basically, that's able to put the frequencies into our bioenergetic field, that EMF field around your body, and balance the energy there. Okay, so we do have this field around your body. I don't know if you've noticed, you can reach, like you're about to touch your phone on an app, and even if you don't quite touch the screen, sometimes it'll still grab that app or open up that app, because there's energy, there's this field around you, and that's what it's sensing when you do that. So we can do wireless Healy programs here. This is actually the most intense, where you're doing at the biological level, sending frequencies through the water and cells in your body. This is more into your information field or the bioenergetic field when you do it with the coil. So this is not a replacement for the wires. In fact, the Healy says only do maybe 3 or 4 of these types of programs a day, where you're using the wires, and rest in between for a few hours, because your body needs time to assimilate all that frequency you're putting in it at the cells, so it can do its job. The cells are going to act on all that energy, and you'll have results over the next few hours. But the coil, when we use this coil, these are much more subtle. You can run them back to back all day long. So I typically will try to do 2 or 3 or 4 programs a day with the wires, but in between run a bunch with the coil as well. And you can be doing multiple frequency programs at a time. Now, compare that to doing something with Time Waiver. If you went to an actual Time Waiver practitioner that has the big $40,000 machine, they're going to charge you $100 or more to do one session with them. But when you own a Healy, you can run multiple sessions every day, and not just for you, but on your whole family. So this is a huge, huge, huge value, owning your own frequency device, especially one that can scan your bioenergetic field as a biofeedback machine. So I'm going to clip this back on and now show you how this works, because we control the Healy either with your smartphone or a tablet. I'm just going to use my regular iPhone that I'm using every day. So I'm going to share my iPhone screen so you can see what we do. Unable to connect. Lovely. Okay. Let me figure out why it's unable to connect. I'll stop sharing. Make sure I'm on the same Wi-Fi network with both. Oh, yeah, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi here. Here we go. With the phone. Connect to Wi-Fi on my phone. Okay, now I can do this. So share screen to the phone. And beautiful. Okay, so now you're seeing my phone. And we have multiple apps we can use with Healy. We're going to talk about mainly these two here. This one is when you're ready to actually run a program with microcurrent, with either the coil or the wires, you would use this app. So let me just give you a quick tour of what happens in here. So I open the app and I turn on the Healy. It will connect by Bluetooth to my Healy. And then you can see that's the program I had been running most recently, but let me just show you all these types of programs we have. For instance, this Gold Cycle, it was developed by one of these practitioners that's in Time Waiver. And these are kind of more generalized to cover all areas of life, physically, mentally, emotionally, but we're doing Purus is like detoxing the body, Release is about pain in the body, whether it's physical or mental or emotional pain, energy, relaxation, and so on. Then we have programs for pain. These are the two that are FDA cleared, but we have an additional, tooth and jaw pain, joint pain, migraine pain, insomnia, anxiety, and depression on those pages. Learning programs, fitness programs. If you can hopefully read these, you can just see kind of some of the names of these programs. We have programs for your job, such as positive thoughts and balancing your nerves and dealing with fatigue and exhaustion, but also sleep programs down here. We have mental balance programs. This is great for people with PTSD or other issues on the mental side, or we've seen some really cool results with kids with ADHD where they can use these concentration programs and they're able to sit and read a book, for instance. Beauty and skin programs. My wife had some cool results with this scars local page where it actually caused scarring on the skin to go down and the skin smooth out. Bioenergetic Harmony 1, you can see lots of cool programs here. For me, this nerves program was really important. I'm going to show you in a minute how we can scan to see which programs we should be running. But initially, my scans included the nerves program a lot. And then on this next page, the sciatica local program. I had been having sciatica pain for about 10 years. It would flare up and then it'd be gone for a couple of days and it'd flare up again for a few days and gone. It was just back and forth for 10 years. It get pretty intense sometimes where I'd have to sit down, do all these crazy stretches just to try to relieve that pain. But the Healy could see that. All my results, my scan results initially for the first few weeks, a lot of those programs it was referring to was the sciatic one, and then also this nerves one back here. I had also had some nerve numbness in my right hand from a pinched nerve I had earlier that year. And it was just this ongoing numbness. And I read online that it could be permanent. It's like a neuropathy thing. Well, the Healy could sense that. And I would run these programs and now everything's back normal. It's just great, which is great for me. I play piano. My degree's in piano. So having that numbness in my finger and thumb was not very good. Meridians are those energy pathways in the body. If you're familiar with like acupuncture and such, we have 20 of those. We have the 7 energy centers that are tied to the endocrine system, sometimes known as chakras as well. Bioenergetic defense, bioenergetic support, bioenergetic vitalization. It's actually quite a bit. Deep cycle, digital nutrition. I'm not going to go into all the rest of these, but there's tons of programs for different things. Let's just say if I were to go here and run a program here, let's do this one under bioenergetic vitalization for the pineal gland. All right, if you can activate the pineal gland in the brain, there's lots of research you can read up a lot about how there's a lot of talk about the pineal gland right now. We have a program right here for you can target that with energy and resonant frequencies. You can see here, this is going to be a 36-minute program. It's saying to use the electrodes on my wrist like I'm wired up right now, or it does say you can also use with the coil here. And if I hit start, it's going to transmit all the frequencies that are part of that program set over to my Healy. And this could be dozens or even hundreds of different frequencies. You can see right now it was doing 701 hertz, now 992, now 889, 1000 hertz. It's basically cycling through through different hertz or different frequencies and comparing them to my bioenergetic field to see what I need the most. And it's going to create a queue of frequencies eventually that it'll keep cycling through. And as I get to everything I need of one frequency, it drops out of the queue and a new one will drop in. But right now it's actually just kind of testing the waters. This little red dot is going to go around this circle for about 36 minutes. And the black line here means that I'm not really getting the conductivity I want between the two electrodes in my wrists. So that could be dehydration. That could be a lot of toxicity in my body. In this case, it's really that I just have the intensity set too low. If I bump this up, in my case, about 40% or so, I start to feel a little sense of energy or tingling in my hands because of the current going through these electrodes. And you notice it goes to white. So now it's showing that it does have good conductivity. Oops, I moved around too much. Let me get these tight. But now it's white, now it's black. I probably need to be drinking. Normally I can just guzzle a bunch of water too, and that would fix that issue right there. Or you can even put a little water in between your skin and the electrode just to kind of moisten that and give better conductivity. But here you are now, I can really feel it. I can sense it really good. I'm getting good conductivity and it's white. Now look what happens if I unplug one of them, it goes black, okay? I've interrupted that circuit. It's really important to understand that your body is part of that circuit. There, I was holding it with my thumb and it was going through my thumb then. And if I let go of the clip part, it'll go back to black. So my body becomes part of the circuit and those frequencies are flowing through my whole body, through all the cells and the water in my body. I'm going to stop that now and run over to another app. That's just how you choose a program to go, but how do you decide what program to do? Well, if you have one of our first two editions of the Healy, that's really you just choose, you just decide, hey, I want to work on this, and you choose like I just did. Or you can go to this Heal Advisor app, which has a bunch of different app modules that just mean it's different than just a program group like I showed you. It gives you a lot more functionality. And as you'll see here, there's things like for Bioenergetic Vitalization, it has its own module. And digital nutrition, you can even get a shopping list of the foods that the Healy says you are deficient in, of the nutrients and that would enhance the programs that are needed in digital nutrition. But I want to show you this Heal Advisor search. We can click right here and we can search for anything. So let's say you deal with high blood pressure. You see high blood pressure, high blood sugar, white blood cells and leukocytes, thrombophilia, low blood sugar. There's going to be a lot of different options of things, but just about any disease or symptom or issue that you may have, you can type in, and I'm going to choose the high blood pressure. And what it does is now it tells me which programs in my Healy, based on the edition that I have, that I should use that will help support my body in dealing with high blood pressure. So you can see it's bed rest and one called being in the gold cycle, stress, systemic, circulation, relax, and circulatory system, and the heart meridian. So there's like 7 or 8 different programs there, and you can add those to a schedule. It'll remind you when it's time to run the next one. And you could just focus on those. If you just want to focus for the next week or 2 on high blood pressure, you can do that. The other cool thing we can do though, is actually run analysis with this Healy Advisor Analyze app. Let me hit next. You need to turn on my Healy. And you can see we have resonance analysis, coaching analysis, aura analysis. I'm not going to get into all these except to explain that this is dealing specifically with those 7 energy centers in the body. And when it tells you the energy levels of each and the effect that is having on you, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional. It can show you your current state and your desired state, and then provide the frequencies to shift you from the current state towards the desired state. It's really cool. Coaching analysis is similar in that, except that it's more of a life coach. You can deal with frequencies with things like finances and business and personal relationships. I think there's 10 or 12 different categories there. And it's really, really interesting as well. If you're into epigenetics, this is where this really comes into play. Resonance analysis, though, is the one that you may use the most, or that you would use on a daily basis to do exactly what I'm going to show you now. So you would put yourself in as a client here, and just for curiosity, look at this. We can do people, animals, plants, organization, or building vehicle. You can do frequency work with anything, because everything is energy and frequency. But we're going to just use me as the client in this case. It's going to scan and find my Healy. Make sure it's turned on here. Yep. It'll find my Healy, and I'll select it based on the serial number in case there's more than one Healy in the area. So there's mine. Now it's connecting. And then I will be able to do some scans. So first, you'll see that it'll say that the focus here is, what do I have the greatest resonance now? So it's basically scanning my bioenergetic field against these different databases to see which databases or which programs we offer are most resonant with you and that you need the most. So you'll see lots of different things. Starting about here are all those program groups that you saw in the other app. Deep cycle, digital nutrition, chakra programs, bioenergetic harmony 1 and 2, learning, mental balance, sleep, all those things, right? But there are some additional ones like Alaskan gem elixirs, Australian bush flowers, Bach flower remedies, homeopathics. So if you're very familiar with holistic health, you've probably heard of some of those. At the bottom, we even have I Ching, which is traditional Chinese medicine, Schussler salts, vital substances. So there's a lot of databases, that those extra ones I just showed you, that aren't even in the other app where you'd run it with microcurrent, but you can do what we call vibrational frequencies. That's the third type of frequency we can do, and which can even be done remotely. You can have someone in as a client here, and you can scan their bioenergetic field remotely and send them frequencies, and it's all done through quantum physics. Okay, I don't understand it, but I see it work every day. But if you probably heard the term quantum entanglement, so it has to do with that, and intention and frequency and vibration and energy. It's all related. But let me show you how I would use this typically on a normal day. I go to this one called All Healy Programs, and that's going to be scanning with all these ones that are in that other app to see what I need the most, because I want to know which program should I be running. So I basically am having the Healy scan my bioenergetic field right now with its quantum sensor. It's telling me that my most resonant group is the gold cycle programs. And then after that is bioenergetic vitalization, and then learning. And I typically focus on the ones that are above 50%. In this case, all 5, because it always brings 5, are all 50% or higher. So the watch and then the job. So let's just look at these first 2 though, gold cycle and bioenergetic vitalization, because those are at 60 and 55%. I typically would just take the top 2 or maybe 3, but for time we'll just do 2. And I go and scan within those. So gold cycle and bioenergetic. So I go back into resonance, choose my name, and go find the gold cycle programs. So gold cycle is right, where'd it go? No, right down here. There's 7 programs in the group, but whenever we do these scans, it brings us the results for the top 5 and puts them in order of importance. So the gold cycle was my #1 program group that I needed, and the care program within the gold cycle is the #1 program in that #1 group. So to me, this says you should go over to that other app, put on the electrodes or use the coil and run the care program. And then maybe later in the day, do the pure program or the energy program. So you got 5 of them in here, release, relax. So this is my #1 though. I'm going to definitely make sure I would run that one that day. But we can also go, what was my second one? It was Bioenergetic Revitalization. Bioenergetic, where is it? QR. Why don't I see it? Healy, oh, it's under B for bioenergetic. There we go. Bioenergetic Vitalization programs. So there's 12 of those programs. These are all about staying young. They have to do with things like epigenetics and human growth hormone and stem cells and so on. So you see #1 at 71% resonance is a program simply called Youth, and then epigenetic harmonization, and then bones. Honestly, I've been getting this set showing up a lot, the bioenergetic vitalization programs the last few days, and this bones one had been #1 for a couple days in a row. So now I'm getting a little more help with the frequencies there. That's dropping down, regeneration 3, and then there's that pineal gland one we were doing before. But here's another one, very important, 71% in one that was my #2 group. So this youth program is definitely something I would try to run. But we can also do what we call vibrational frequencies. And again, this is something we could even do remotely with someone. I simply hit actions, vibrate, and you select a time period. Typically, we can do a minute or two or longer. But for this, I'm just going to do 17 seconds, just as an example to show you what's going on. So here's that blue wavy line again, which means it's still scanning my field to see what I need. But this pink or red wavy line is the information it's sending into my field. So it's doing both. It's not just sending me frequencies from these 5 programs. It's still scanning my field to see what frequencies in those groups I need the most. So it's individualized just for you. And then, of course, I would go over and run this program in the other app. So that's a basic overview of how we use the Healy each day, but realize it's way beyond that. Things like R analysis and coaching analysis. And there's even program sets for animals to work with your pets. There's a lot of stuff we can do. I'm going to close this out now and share my computer screen real quick and explain how the Healy works. And then unless Ray, there's a question or something we need to handle at this point.
No, David, I'm not seeing any questions on my side of things. You might be able to see something over on yours.
Yeah, I don't see any. That's fine. That means we're doing a great job, right? Okay, so I'm gonna share my computer screen here, and I just have a quick little PowerPoint where it shows a little bit more about how the Healy works. So this goes. Okay, well, let's finish this up and then we'll answer those questions, because we might answer those questions right now. And then, yeah, I see Dawn has her hand raised. We'll just do this quick part here in about 5 minutes, and then we can answer all their questions. So the Healy editions and the pricing of the Healy. So there are 5 editions of the Healy, this little device here. It's 5 versions of it, but it's really not the hardware that changes at all. It's just which program groups you have, which app modules do you have access to. So if someone needed to, they could actually start with a lower edition, later upgrade to a higher priced one where they get more stuff to use without having to get a whole new Healy. You don't need new hardware. It's just an upgrade in the software side. So when you purchase your Healy, you're going to get the Healy connection cables, bracelet electrodes, adhesive electrodes, a charging cable. If you're in Europe or Australia, you end up getting another set of electrodes that clip to your earlobes and that lets you do stuff directly with the head. In the United States, there's some strange law that doesn't let us put an electrode on our head with a consumer device like this, but we have a way that we still do that. But there's also this 14-day money-back guarantee from the day you get your Healy. So anybody can purchase their Healy from the day it arrives on their doorstep. They have 2 weeks to use it. And if you decide it's not for you, you can return it and get all your money back. So it's really no risk, just to give it a try. I'll tell you, it's very, very rare that someone returns a Healy though, because it is really groundbreaking and cool, and it really does work. This is just showing how many different program groups there are in all these different categories, like you saw in the first app I shared with you. And these are the different app modules, which you can see some of them have actual frequency programs as part of that as well. And then these other app modules, like we were playing with the search module. When we search for high blood pressure, we were doing the resonance module when we were scanning our field to see what we need. So again, some of your different editions will have fewer or more of these. But if there is a program group that you really, really want that's not in your edition, you can always add that as a subscription, like a monthly subscription. But the programs that come in your edition you purchase are for life. You don't have to pay any kind of monthly fee, yearly fee if you're happy with what's in your edition, unless you want to add to it. You can either upgrade to the higher edition or just add a program or two or a group or two that you want. Here's an example. The Healy Gold is our lowest price edition at about $500. It has these gold cycle programs that I showed you, Bioenergetic Boost and Coherence, and then the 2 FDA cleared pain programs, and that search module where you can search for any issue and it'll tell you which of these programs would be best to run to help aid in that. On the far extreme is our Healy Professional, which would normally be over $4,000, but there is a special this month where it's quite a bit lower price than that. But this is the high-end professional Healy where you've got just about everything that we offer, all these different program groups with and app modules. So there's about 216 different microcurrent programs instead of just 11 in the gold. and these 6 app modules, including that success module, the search, the aura analysis, the resonance analysis, so on. In between, there are other additions. So you can see here's gold with 11 programs in one module. Go up to holistic at about 1,000. You add a bunch more programs in these groups. When you get to resonance, now you've added another app module where you can do the scanning, normally about $1,500, 98 programs. When you go to Resonance Plus, now you're up to 124 programs and 4 modules. And professional, you jump all the way to 229 programs and all 6 of our modules that we have as part of editions. Now, there are on sale right now. For the month of July, all the editions except the gold are at half price. So nobody is buying gold right now because you can get holistic for the same price, about $500, and have 63 programs instead of 11. Or if you want, most people try to do the resonance or higher because they want the ability to do that scanning that I showed you. So now, instead of that being $1,500, I paid $1,500 and something for my Healy resonance 2 years ago, and now it's half that. The Resonance Plus is at $1,264 instead of $2,520, but many people are going with a professional. They just, ideally you want as much as you can afford to do. You want to use the professional if you can do it. And at this price, I mean, that's basically about the same price as you would pay just to simply upgrade from the resonance to the professional later. You could have a professional now for $2,020.50 plus whatever your taxes. If that's a lot of money to you, we do offer a financing plan through Klarna. You would have to have decent credit to get approved for that, but that does allow you to spread the payments out over 18 or even 24 months. And so that has worked for several people, but most of us just pop it on the credit card and use that, and then get to work, even sharing Healy if you like. I'll show you that in a second. The Healy coil is an accessory. If you want to be able to do the 0-point field with the Tesla coil and do that type of application, it is going to be another $225 or so to add that to your order. But here, real quick, you can become what's called a Healy World member. This is the network marketing side of what we do. Now, many of you are probably here just because you wanted to learn about this technology and see if this would help you and your family with whatever it is, pain or sleep or any issues. We believe frequencies can work on anything to help your body work. Your body can heal itself, right? So the frequencies are helping your body to heal itself. But if you were to become a member, it doesn't cost anything to do that. There's no monthly fee. There's no annual fee. You can earn commissions simply by referring others to Healy. You can, of course, write off the cost of your own Healy because now you're in a business. But you can even earn another free Healy edition. And we believe this is going to be the next multi-billion-dollar network marketing company the world has ever seen, because this is such an interesting, unique product. And they have a dozen or so quantum physicists working on newer, cooler, even in other areas, other products that we can add to our product line that is just going to make this an even better company and better opportunity too. So that's what a lot of us are doing. I got involved with this right off the bat because the person that told me about it was Dr. Corrine Allen. She's a friend of mine and someone I really, really trust when it comes to holistic health. She says, "This is good for you, David." I was like, okay, I want one. But I saw, oh my gosh, this is a huge opportunity. This is what everyone's talking about. If you go on Facebook, everyone's saying hashtag vibration, hashtag energy, hashtag frequencies. It's all over the place. I don't even know what a hashtag is. I'm an old guy, right? But you see it all over the place. And so people are talking about this kind of stuff. Even like Tesla and Albert Einstein were talking about it 100 years ago. Now everybody's starting to talk about it. So there is definitely a big opportunity here. And this has, just so you know, that this has allowed my wife and I to both quit our jobs. We do this full time now, and we have sold our house. We live in an RV and we travel around the country. We're currently in Kalispell, Montana, where 2 of our sons and their wives live. Next week, we're going to be down on the Salmon River in Idaho for a week. And after that, I don't know. We might go to Utah. We might go to Colorado. We don't know yet. So we're just traveling and doing a lot of Zoom meetings and sharing Healy with people and just having an absolute blast building a business that gives us the freedom to move around. So I'm going to stop sharing there. And Ray, I'm going to send it back to you, see if we have any questions we can answer.
Okay, I'm still not seeing questions on my end, David, but
right. Let's see if I can see
do.
something here. Let me get back to where I can see. It was showing before that there were people raising their hand. I do not see that now. Let's see.
It says the chat, Dawn Stone says the chat is disabled, which is why you're not seeing anything. Prospects may not know how to use the question and answer.
Let's see it. Attendees can chat. Oh, there you go. You're right. It's disabled. Okay. Now the chat is enabled. I'm so sorry, guys.
Right
I thought that
on.
would be automatically enabled when we started a webinar. So go ahead and post your questions. Susanna has a question. Now these are, we're not going to unmute you and have you talk. If you guys could type them in and we'll read them and go into that. Now these are questions. Okay, I know Susanna already owns a Healy. So these are not questions about how to use your Healy. These are not training type questions. If people that are checking out the Healy right now want to know questions about what we've been sharing here, about what the Healy is and so on, please ask those. So type that into the chat right now, please. I need to plug in my computer. It's about to lose battery. Saw earlier someone named Dawn had their hand raised. Did Dawn get her question? Looks like she might not.
She was the one that helped us understand that the chat was disabled. So thank you, Dawn.
There we go. There we go. That's why she was raising her hand, right? There is also a Q&A section here. Linda Heimerman is saying, how do you sign someone up after you have a Healy? Okay. When you first order your Healy, it will create a member account. If you choose to be a member rather than a customer, you will have a whole back office where you can track your business, but you will then have a referral link. So if you, Linda, are ready to purchase a Healy, you simply contact the person that told you about this. They will give you their referral link, or they will help you place your order using their referral link, and that's how they get credit. But you will have the same thing. And in fact, there's different referral links for different parts of the world. We're in 50-something countries. So if you know people in Europe or India or Thailand or other parts of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and just as of July 5th, we are now in Canada. So if you know, so far in North and South America, the only country we had been in was the United States, but as of July 5th, we are now also in Canada, and we can sell Healys in Canada. Very, very cool. So it's pretty simple to sign someone up, and then you can track all that and try to build. And if you want to go even beyond just personally selling Healys and building an organization, you can do that as well and track all that in your back office. All right.
There's another question about the deep cycle.
And where can I find the deep Healy? Okay, this is from Susanna. We've already talked about this, Susanna, offline here, but if you want to find information about the deep cycle, it's in your manual. If your edition doesn't have the deep cycle, that can be added with a subscription. Today,
it would be cycle H, yeah.
Yeah. Can we sell a Healy to someone in South Korea? Actually, I believe that is happening either later this month or in August, that we will be officially in South Korea. It's very, very close. That's the next country we're going into. And it's literally within weeks that we will be able to. So as of today, no, Cheryl, we cannot sell to someone in South Korea, but you will be able to very shortly. All right.
I do have a volunteer for a testimony.
All right, who is that?
It's Phil or Linda Steck. I saw Linda on here, but Phil may be sitting right next to her.
I see Linda. I'm going to click allow to talk. So Linda, you should be able to unmute yourself or even turn on your camera if you'd like. And yeah, we'd love to hear your experience using your Healy. Linda, are you there? It says that you're muted, Linda. You'll have to hit the unmute button. Maybe they were not ready.
She was on there a minute ago.
Yeah, I've got her. Oh, there she goes. Okay, if you want it, now we can hear you, but if you want us to see you, you'll have to click the button for your camera as well, but you don't have to if you don't want to. But go ahead and share your story.
Well, Phil and I love our Healy. We got it back in January. The end of January. And but anyway, it has taken care of sciatica for me, the frequencies. I went through months of agony with pain in my sciatica in my left hip, and the Healy took care of it in 20 minutes. And that I had been getting massages and going to the chiropractors, and nothing was bringing relief, but it took care of it in 20 minutes. And then, let's see, what else? That's my other testimony. It's brought us a lot of joy. We got to share it with my sister, and she was suffering with a lot of grief. And actually, the Healy signed her up and sent it to her without me even knowing it. I found it later on my phone. And then she called me the next afternoon and said, something really weird happened. And she's 85. And I said, what happened? And she said, I got up today and I felt over the top wonderful all day. She said, not just good, but I feel exceptionally wonderful. And I've been taking her to the emergency room off and on for several months because she'd lost her husband. And anyway, she was in a state of shock. But anyway, so she's been great for the last, 3 months, because that happened pretty quickly. And then another time I went in, I didn't know anything about the Healy advisor, but I went in there messing around one day, and anyway, and I clicked on prosperity, and it told me that I needed to sing more. And I thought, well, yeah, I haven't been singing because we've been through a lot physically and emotionally. And but anyway, so I thought, well, I need to start singing more. Well, anyway, then I was at the Rock and Mineral show, and I heard something, and I was attracted to it, and it was a big singing bowl, a crystal singing bowl. And I thought, well, this is what Phil's going to get for his anniversary present. And so I brought it home, and I didn't realize it until I was using it. I said, Phil, do you know what I'm doing? I am singing in the key of C. And so anyway, so I used that for about 30 minutes, and then we started getting not large checks, but small checks that amounted to quite a bit of money in the mail. We had a little season of that. We need to do that again. But anyway, this Healy has brought us so much joy. Just, you know, we sold another one last week to a gentleman that had grief and a lot of pain in his ankle from a beam that had fallen on his foot, a 2,000-pound beam. But anyway, he's had relief and he's sleeping for the first time, but it's just brought so much joy in our life and purpose. It's hard to describe, but it's a miracle. And I think it's a godsend.
You are certainly bringing a lot of joy to lots of other people, Linda and Phil. We appreciate you.
Well, kind of my story is I found out about frequencies back in 2014 when I was in the hospital, and 10 specialists couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They called cold blue on me. They thought I was dead. And after 12 days in the hospital, they sent me home and said, if you run a fever again, come back and see us. We don't know what's wrong with you, but you've got all the indication of Lyme disease, but you don't have Lyme disease. So it took me, I think, 3 weeks before I could dial a phone because I shook so bad. And I was using a walker. Well, I got frequencies in some jars of colloidal silver, and it brought me out of it. But if it weren't for those frequencies, I don't know where I'd be at today. And now when we found the Healy in January, it is just so amazing to see what it can do for me and for other people. Because I've got a client that I'm working on who's got Parkinson's, and he was almost dead when we met him, and he's using the
And on hospice.
Yeah, on hospice, and he's talking now. He didn't talk for years, and he couldn't stand up straight. So we're seeing a lot of people, things happening to a lot of people.
Well, Phil and Linda, I love your story. I do see that I have another question in here that came to me directly. It said, so if I buy the gold, I can upgrade or add programs, right? So let me just show you what that really means. If you buy the gold, you actually right now nobody would buy the gold because the holistic is half price. So it's $1.50 more than the gold. So don't buy the gold, okay? Buy at least the holistic. But if you upgrade, let's say you wanted to go from holistic all the way to professional someday. The difference between $1,000 and $4,000 is $3,000. Plus, they always add another $200 or $300 as part of an upgrade fee. So you're not paying only the difference. There's a couple hundred more dollars in there. So you could buy holistic now for $500 and then later spend about $3,300 plus tax to upgrade to professional. And or you could get the professional now for $2,000 instead of spending $3,800 by saving some money here and then upgrading. Or if you can get to, most people want to start the resonance so they can do the scans. So for $757, do the resonance. But again, if you're going to upgrade later to here, it's a difference of $2,500 plus the upgrade fee. So it's probably be about $2,800 plus tax, close to $3,000 to upgrade later from resonance to professional. So what I'm suggesting right now is, because these are all half price just till the end of July, try to get the biggest one you can afford so that you don't need to pay that big upgrade cost later. The upgrade cost is going to be a lot more than what you're saving right now in by getting a lower priced edition. Now, another thing to think about, if you are interested, because people were already asking, well, could I sell one in South Korea? Can I sell one? So you guys are already thinking, who do I know? Because that's what's so interesting about this. I've done some network marketing in the past, but I've never found as interesting of a product. Everyone I show this to is like, wow, that is so cool. So imagine that you've got a product that everyone's really instantly intrigued by and wants, and you can market that. Well, we have until the end of July to save people a lot of money. So if you're thinking about this from a business standpoint, join now, get your Healy ordered so you can get it and start using it too. But between now and the end of the month, you could refer a lot of people to Healy. And you don't have to wait until you're an expert with the Healy. I ordered my Healy on May 14th of 2020. They were back ordered then. They were just released in the United States May 1st. They were already out of stock. This was COVID time where it was really hard to get stuff from Germany to the United States. So it took me 5 weeks to get my Healy. But in that 5 weeks, I just talked to a lot of people, told them what I learned from Dr. Allen, or even got them on Zoom meetings with Dr. Allen. And I sold 14 of these Healys within those 5 weeks and made $4,000 or $5,000 in income, maybe more than that. But it was pretty significant. On a part-time basis, I just started talking to people, sharing. I talked to people, anyone that I knew that was into more holistic health, wanting to do things proactively to help in their health and not just rely on pharmaceutical drugs and doctors' opinions. So anyone like that would be interested in the Healy if you can get them to sit down and take a look. So get the edition that you can afford, the highest edition that you can afford is what I suggest you do. And then get to work sharing, because you can not only earn commissions and easily pay back what you invested in the Healy very quickly, but you can earn an additional Healy. What do you do with that extra Healy? Well, I suggest you keep it, because like Ray was the Healy hog, right? If you can get another free one, then your wife won't be always asking you to borrow yours, okay, or your husband. So you can keep that in your family, or you can actually sell it. You could have this device that you earn that maybe is even this Resonance Plus that has a price of $2,500. You could sell that to a friend that wants to join with Healy, give them to him at a discount of $2,000. That's $2,000 cash in your pocket, and then you can make them a member and transfer that Healy to them. So just refer a few people and you can earn a Resonance Plus and do whatever you want with it. So I know there's a lot to that, and maybe I'm not getting into a lot of the details that you would want yet, but we can get you those details later. Are there any more messages, Ray, that we need to answer here, or questions?
No, everything is clear, and we're at our time limit. Actually, we're
All right.
over time.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Why don't you wrap it up for us, Ray, and we'll say goodnight.
Once again, thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. This happens every Monday night at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, or whatever time on the West Coast. So you all have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.